The stars had always been quiet. For centuries, humans had looked up at the night sky with curiosity and awe, wondering what lay beyond their small blue planet. They had built telescopes that reached farther than anyone could have imagined, sent probes to distant planets, and even landed humans on the Moon and Mars. Yet for all their achievements, the universe had seemed empty. That emptiness had comforted humans. In a strange way, it gave them space to grow, to explore, to imagine. But now, that quiet was ending. At the edge of the solar system, far beyond Pluto, something stirred, something vast, something that had not been seen in 500,000 years. The alien fleet, an ancient civilization that had once observed early humans from a distance, was returning. They came not as explorers this time, but as observers with memories of a species they had long dismissed. On Earth, the first signs were subtle. Satellites detected strange movements in the Kuiper Belt, unusual electromagnetic readings, and a pattern of energy pulses that defied natural explanation. At first, scientists were cautious. Perhaps it was a comet. Perhaps it was a natural phenomenon yet to be understood. But soon it became clear this was artificial. Something intelligent, massive, and deliberate was approaching. In the observatories of Chile, the deserts of Arizona, and the orbital labs circling Earth, humans watched in awe. The alien ships were enormous, their surfaces glinting with metals and materials humans had never seen. They moved with precision, in formations that spoke of experience and discipline. Even the most imaginative scientists were silent. They had imagined alien life in countless ways, but this was beyond imagination. The news spread quickly. Governments issued statements to calm the public, emphasizing that there was no immediate threat. Yet, beneath the words of reassurance, fear lingered. Humanity had never faced anything like this. And yet, there was also excitement. Curiosity was stronger than fear for many. What would it mean if intelligent life, ancient and powerful, finally revealed itself? President Amina Patel of the United Global Council spoke to the world from the main communication center in Geneva. She appeared calm, her voice steady, though her mind raced. "We have detected an alien fleet approaching our solar system," she said. "Their origin is unknown, and their intentions are unclear. However, humanity has faced challenges before, and we will face this with courage, unity, and intelligence. We ask all citizens to remain calm and to trust in our collective strength." Across the planet, people looked up. Children pointed at the sky. Scientists argued with one another, checking and rechecking data. The aliens had been absent for hundreds of thousands of years. They had seen humans as small, fragile, primitive, and yet now they were returning to find a species that had conquered the skies, mapped the stars, and grown more clever and resourceful than they could have imagined. In orbit, the alien fleet slowed as it approached the inner planets. Their sensors scanned Earth, and what they saw puzzled them. Cities spread across continents like glittering veins of light. Tall structures reached toward the sky, metal and glass catching the sun. Humans moved in coordinated patterns, not as scattered tribes but as organized societies. Entire nations had come together to monitor this return, sharing knowledge and resources in ways the aliens had long thought impossible. The aliens, who had traveled the universe and studied countless species, were cautious. They had expected fear, disorganization, weakness. Instead, they detected intelligence, planning, and creativity on a scale that was unexpected. On Earth, a team of scientists, led by Dr. Elena Rojas, monitored the alien fleet from a secure station in the Andes Mountains. "They're huge," she said, her eyes wide as she adjusted the telescope. "And they're studying us, not attacking, not communicating, just observing. But the way they're scanning, like they're trying to understand everything in a single glance, it's terrifying." Her assistant, Malik, frowned. You think they remember us? Elena nodded slowly. They do. Ancient species like this. They have memories that span millions of years. They saw the earliest humans, the first cities, the first attempts at flight. They think they know us. And now they're seeing what we've become. It wasn't long before the alien fleet sent a signal, a wave of energy that carried a message too complex for humans to immediately decode. But the intent was clear. The aliens were sending an invitation, or perhaps a test. World leaders convened in emergency meetings. Military commanders debated strategies. Should humanity respond with force or with caution? Should they attempt communication or remain silent? The debate raged for hours, but one thing was certain. Humanity would not cower. From the streets of New York to the deserts of Africa, from the islands of Japan to the frozen lands of Siberia, people watched the skies. The alien ships moved slowly, methodically, as if weighing every step. And as humans watched, they began to notice something unusual. The aliens, creatures that had once inspired fear across galaxies, seemed hesitant, cautious, even careful. In private briefings, analysts tried to explain it. They're nervous, one said. They've encountered civilizations before. They know how to dominate, how to conquer. But something about humanity, it's different. There's a spark they didn't expect. That spark was resilience. Humanity had faced countless disasters, plagues, wars, climate crises, famine. Time and again they had adapted, survived, and even thrived. They had built technologies that seemed impossible, found solutions to problems that had once seemed insurmountable, and had maintained hope even in the darkest times. And now the aliens were witnessing it firsthand. As the days passed, the fleet moved closer. Humans began to prepare. The world's top engineers and scientists worked around the clock, devising defenses that were both creative and practical. Satellites were armed with advanced sensors and energy shields. Cities implemented emergency protocols. Communication networks were strengthened. Humanity was ready, not just to defend, but to show that they were not the species the aliens had expected to find. In orbit, the alien leaders, beings of immense intelligence and long memory, held a silent council. "They have grown," one said, its voice a harmonic vibration that humans could not hear. "We expected weaklings, creatures that could be catalogued and dismissed. But this is different." Another replied, "We underestimated them. Their cities, their machines, their unity. It is unlike anything we have seen in a million worlds." A general, arms crossed, frowned. "Should we prepare weapons? Show them we're ready?" Elena shook her head. "Not yet. We need to observe too. They are as cautious as we are. We must understand them before we act." Meanwhile, in space, the aliens were also observing. Their sensors, far more advanced than anything humanity had built, recorded every detail of Earth's civilization. Yet even with such technology, something about humans puzzled them. Unlike other species the aliens had encountered, humans were not predictable. They did not move according to simple patterns or instinct. Instead, they adapted, invented, and responded in ways the aliens could not immediately calculate. The alien leaders convened in their largest ship, a cathedral of metal and light, to discuss their observations. "They are cleverer than we expected," said one, its voice a low hum that resonated through the ship. "They build machines that defy physics as we know it. They communicate instantly across vast distances, and yet they are united. We expected division. We expected weakness. But they are coordinated." Another replied, "Coordination does not mean they are dangerous, but unpredictability, that is concerning. Our simulations cannot account for their creativity, their ability to respond instantly to new threats." On Earth, scientists began decoding the alien signals. They were complex, a mix of mathematics, sound, and energy pulses. After days of analysis, a breakthrough occurred. The message was not a threat, it was an invitation. The aliens wanted to communicate. They wanted to understand Earth before deciding on their next action. President Amina Patel addressed the world again, her calm voice a steady anchor. The aliens have reached out. They have not attacked. This is an opportunity. Humanity has always been curious. Today, we will show the universe who we are, not with weapons, but with knowledge, unity, and courage. A team of diplomats, scientists, and engineers prepared a response. The message they sent was simple but clear. Earth wished to communicate and learn, and humanity was ready to meet the visitors with respect, intelligence, and creativity. Days passed, and then the first official encounter occurred. A massive alien ship entered Earth's orbit, descending slowly, hovering above the Pacific Ocean. It was unlike anything humans had imagined. Towers of gleaming metal, flowing energy lines, and shapes that seemed impossible, yet perfectly balanced. On board the alien vessel, the leaders observed humanity with fascination and caution. They had seen species rise and fall, civilizations crumble under pressure, but humans were different. Humans had survived disasters that would have destroyed others. They had built machines that defied imagination, and they had spirit. That was something the aliens had never quantified, and they did not know how to measure. As the first human envoy approached the ship in specially designed spacecraft, the aliens prepared to test them. Their intention was not hostility, but a challenge, to see if humans were clever enough, adaptable enough, to meet an ancient and advanced species on equal footing. Captain Aiden Kim led the human team, a mix of scientists, diplomats, and engineers. His hands were steady on the control panel, though his heart raced. Outside the viewport, the alien vessel gleamed in the sunlight, its size dwarfing even the largest human ships. Yet Aiden felt no fear. Humanity had faced countless challenges before. This was no different. The human craft docked smoothly with the alien ship. Airlocks sealed, lights adjusted, and the crew stepped into a corridor that shimmered with energy. The walls seemed alive, flowing with patterns that were both beautiful and unsettling. Humans and aliens faced each other for the first time in history, creatures separated by time, evolution, and understanding. The aliens did not speak in words humans could understand. Instead, they communicated through images, symbols, and feelings transmitted directly into the mind. At first, it was overwhelming, but humanity adapted, using the universal language of mathematics, logic, and emotion. Slowly, a dialogue began. The aliens were surprised. Humans were not just responding, they were interpreting, creating, and suggesting solutions in real time. Where the aliens expected confusion or fear, they found confidence, intelligence, and even creativity. In one test, the aliens presented a complex problem, a simulation of an unstable energy field that could destroy a planet if mismanaged. They expected humans to fail, to panic, to follow predictable patterns. But the human team approached it differently. They analyzed, experimented, and adapted. Using logic, intuition, and creativity, they stabilized the field in ways the aliens had not anticipated. A murmur of shock rippled through the alien leaders' minds. They had faced many intelligent species, but humans were unique. They did not rely on sheer strength or overwhelming technology alone. They thought, they adapted, they innovated, and they did so in ways the aliens could not predict. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the world watched as the first human-alien communications unfolded. Schools streamed the events live. Families gathered around screens. Cities held public viewings. Across continents, people felt a surge of pride and hope. Humanity was proving itself, not as conquerors, not as invaders, but as clever, resilient, and capable beings. The aliens, in private, debated their next move. "They are clever," said one. "Far cleverer than expected. Their responses are not predictable. They are dangerous in ways we cannot calculate. Another replied, dangerous. They have not attacked us. They have not harmed us. But their creativity, their adaptability, yes, that is dangerous. We cannot anticipate what they might do next. On the human side, the team continued their work. They learned more about the aliens' technology, energy systems, and communication methods than the aliens expected. In turn, humans adapted alien tools to their own purposes, creating devices that were both new and effective. The first week of contact passed with careful testing, observation, and dialogue. Humans learned, adapted, and grew more confident. The aliens, for the first time in centuries, felt caution and uncertainty. They realized that humans were not just survivors. They were challengers, innovators, and thinkers. Then the aliens presented a second test. This time, it was not a simulation but a real challenge, a small asteroid on a collision course with Earth, equipped with technology designed to disrupt planetary defenses. Humans were given only limited information about its trajectory and composition. Failure would mean disaster. Captain Aiden Kim and his team analyzed the asteroid, using both Earth and alien technology. They calculated its path, tested solutions, and coordinated a response across multiple cities and space stations. Working in perfect coordination, humans deployed energy shields, magnetic fields, and targeted propulsion systems. The asteroid was diverted safely, passing by Earth without incident. The world erupted in celebration. Humans had faced a direct threat and succeeded. The aliens, observing, were stunned. They had expected failure, or at least panic, and had found neither. Instead, they saw intelligence, unity, and courage on a scale they had never encountered. After the event, the aliens began to communicate more openly, cautiously revealing fragments of their history, their technology, and their knowledge. Humans listened, learned, and asked questions in turn. The exchange was slow and careful, but it worked. Humanity was proving itself worthy of attention and respect. Dr. Elena Rojas watched from Earth, her eyes bright. "They think they're testing us," she said to her assistant Malik, "but we're teaching them too. Every step we take, every problem we solve, it's proof that humanity is more than they ever imagined." Malik nodded slowly. "They came back expecting to dominate, but I think they're learning from us." Indeed, the alien leaders began to recognize a truth that was difficult to accept. Humans were not weak, predictable, or simple. They were clever, resilient, and capable of achieving the extraordinary. Every test, every challenge, every small victory demonstrated that humans could think, adapt, and innovate in ways no other species had. For the first time, the aliens questioned themselves. Could they truly control, predict, or study humans without risk? Could they even hope to dominate a species that refused to follow expectations, that turned every challenge into an opportunity? On Earth, the world watched as humans and aliens continued to interact. Fear remained, of course, but it was tempered by awe and pride. Humanity was no longer the small, primitive species the universe had once ignored. Humans were clever, brave, and unpredictable. And that unpredictability, something aliens could neither fully understand nor control, was humanity's greatest strength. As Part 2 drew to a close, the solar system seemed quieter than before, yet more alive. Humans had faced the alien challenge and had emerged smarter, stronger, and more confident. And somewhere in the vastness of space, the alien fleet lingered, not in fear of destruction, but in cautious respect for a species that had defied expectations and proven itself worthy of notice. The alien fleet remained near Earth, massive ships glinting in the sunlight, hovering silently above the blue planet. They had expected to arrive and find a weak, primitive species, easy to observe and control. Instead, they found something extraordinary: humans. Clever, creative, resilient, and unpredictable. On Earth, the world watched with a mixture of awe and anxiety. Humanity had already faced the aliens' challenges, solved problems no other species could, and proved itself clever enough to handle real danger. But now, something deeper was about to unfold, a moment that would decide how the aliens saw humans forever. President Amina Patel called an emergency meeting of the United Global Council. "The aliens are studying us closely," she said. "They have seen our strength, our intelligence, and our courage. They are calculating their next move. We must continue to show them who we are, not just with machines, but with our ideas, our values, and our unity." In orbit, human engineers prepared for a daring demonstration. They wanted to show the aliens not only that humanity could solve problems, but also that humans could think creatively, strategically, and ethically. Entire teams coordinated experiments and simulations to display Earth's capabilities in real time. Dr. Elena Rojas, observing the alien fleet from the Andes Mountains, smiled as she adjusted her telescope. "They think they understand the universe," she said to Malik, her assistant. "But they haven't met humans. Not really." Malik nodded. "Do you think they're afraid?" Elena hesitated, then nodded slowly. "I think they are. Not of our weapons, not of our numbers, but of our minds, our creativity, and our ability to adapt. That is something no species can fully predict." The realization began to dawn. Humans were not merely survivors. They were innovators, strategists, and thinkers. They possessed unpredictability, the one quality the aliens feared most in any species. Meanwhile, on Earth, children pointed at the sky in wonder. Families gathered to watch the alien ships glint in the sunlight. Soldiers trained, scientists analyzed, leaders debated. Humanity was alive with energy, with hope, with a sense of purpose. Dr. Rojas watched the fleet, her hands trembling slightly. "They came back after 500,000 years, she whispered, "and they're afraid of us." Malik stared at her, stunned. "Afraid? How can they be afraid?" Elena smiled, a mix of pride and awe on her face. "Because we are human. We survive, we adapt, we fight, and we never give up. That is something no species, no matter how advanced, can predict or control." As night fell, the stars above Earth seemed to shine brighter. The alien fleet hovered, massive and silent, as if reconsidering everything it thought it knew about humanity. And on the ground, people continued to prepare, to watch, and to wonder. The world had changed, and the universe was taking notice. For the first time in 500,000 years, humans and aliens faced one another, not as hunter and prey, not as conqueror and subject, but as two intelligent species, each trying to understand the other. And in that moment, humanity held a power the galaxy had never seen before, the power of determination, courage, and ingenuity. The aliens had returned, expecting to witness a primitive species. Instead, they found something that could rival the greatest civilizations of the universe. And deep inside their ancient minds, a feeling stirred, something they had never felt before, something they would not forget: fear. The alien fleet lingered near the outer edges of the solar system, moving slowly, as if testing the waters. Their ships were vast, enormous enough to cover cities with their shadow, yet silent in their approach. Humanity had never seen anything like it, machines that seemed alive, perfectly designed, and completely alien, and yet Earth's leaders refused to panic. In the United Global Council headquarters, a massive holographic display showed the fleet's formation. Lines of ships stretched across space like frozen rivers of metal and light. Military strategists, scientists, and diplomats debated the next steps. Dr. Elena Rojas stood among them, pointing at the display. "They are not attacking," she said calmly, "but they are scanning everything we have. They are measuring our cities, our satellites, even our atmosphere. They want to understand us before making any move." The first contact of this final stage came in the form of a massive alien emissary. Unlike previous tests, this one was designed to be a direct observation. A large ship descended into orbit, its surface glowing with energy. From inside, holographic images of the alien leaders appeared, speaking through symbols and feelings directly into human minds. Captain Aiden Kim and his team approached once again. Their mission was to engage, to communicate, and to demonstrate that humans were not merely survivors. They were thinkers, creators, and challengers. The aliens presented the ultimate test, a complex, multi-layered simulation. Entire planetary systems, unstable energy fields, and unpredictable variables were included. The humans were tasked with not only solving the problem, but doing so without harming innocent populations, whether human or alien. It was a challenge unlike anything the human teams had faced before. Data streamed across screens. Simulations ran at incredible speeds. Teams collaborated across continents and space stations, communicating instantly. Ideas flowed, tested, discarded, improved, and implemented, all in real time. The aliens watched closely, their minds focused on every decision humans made. They expected mistakes, failures, or panic. Yet, humans responded with clarity, creativity, and resilience. Each solution was unexpected. Each action showed intelligence and ethics combined. Hours passed. The tension in mission control was almost unbearable. Teams of engineers and scientists worked tirelessly, their minds sharp and focused. Outside, cities continued their routines, unaware of the small actions that might determine humanity's place in the universe. And then, the breakthrough came. Using a combination of human intuition, technology, and quick adaptation, the teams solved the simulation in ways the aliens had never predicted. Energy fields stabilized, planetary systems aligned, potential disasters were averted. Humans had not just survived, they had triumphed through creativity, strategy, and collaboration. Inside the alien ship, the leaders communicated silently among themselves. Shock and awe reverberated through their collective minds. "They have solved it," said one. "Not through strength, not through force, through thought, innovation, and unity. They are extraordinary." Another added, "We underestimated them. Their unpredictability, their ability to adapt, their courage, it surpasses anything we have seen. They are formidable." Humans had done more than complete a simulation. They had shown the aliens a truth that could not be denied. Humanity was a species unlike any other. They combined intelligence with creativity, resilience with ethics, and daring with responsibility. Back on Earth, celebrations were quiet but heartfelt. Scientists hugged each other. Teams of engineers cheered softly. Even soldiers trained for battle smiled with relief and pride. Humanity had faced the alien challenge and emerged stronger, smarter, and more respected than ever before. President Patel addressed the world once again. Her voice was calm, yet filled with pride. "Today, humanity has shown the universe who we are. We are clever, we are united, and we are resilient. We do not fear the unknown. We embrace it, we learn from it, and we rise to meet it. Let this moment be remembered. Humans are capable of greatness, and we have proven it to the stars themselves." The aliens did not leave immediately. Instead, they began sharing fragments of their knowledge, revealing technologies and ideas that humanity had never imagined. Plans for interstellar travel, energy systems that surpassed anything on Earth, and strategies for surviving the dangers of the galaxy were offered cautiously. Humans absorbed it all, learning quickly. Engineers adapted alien systems to human designs. Scientists developed theories that had been impossible before. The exchange was slow, careful, but immensely productive. Humanity was not only surviving contact, they were thriving. For the alien leaders, this was a revelation. They had traveled the universe, studied countless species, and controlled many civilizations. Yet here was a species that could challenge them intellectually, ethically, and creatively. Humans were not a threat in the traditional sense, but they were something far more difficult to manage, unpredictable, clever, and unstoppable. And that unpredictability created a new feeling in the alien leaders' minds, something they had not experienced for millennia. It was a mix of caution, respect, and even fear. Not fear of destruction, but fear of the unknown potential of humanity. For the first time, the aliens understood that humans could shape the galaxy in ways that no one, not even them, could foresee. Meanwhile, Captain Aiden Kim and his team returned to Earth after their mission. They were greeted not as heroes who had defeated an enemy, but as representatives of a species that had earned the respect of one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Families cheered, scientists congratulated, and children looked at the stars with new wonder. Dr. Elena Rojas reflected on everything that had happened. "They came back expecting to find fear," she said to Malik, watching the sky. "Instead, they found courage, intelligence, and creativity. Humanity is not just surviving. We are proving that we can rise above any challenge." Malik smiled. "So they're leaving?" Elena shook her head. "Not exactly. They are staying, for now, observing, learning, but they know one thing. They cannot underestimate us ever again, and that knowledge changes everything." Over the next months, the alien fleet adjusted its position. They no longer hovered threateningly. Instead, they maintained a distant orbit, monitoring quietly while allowing humans to continue their lives. Contact continued carefully, with exchanges of knowledge and culture. Humans learned, adapted, and grew stronger. The revelation had reached deep into human society. People understood that intelligence, unity, and creativity were as important as weapons or numbers. Humans had not fought with force. They had triumphed with ingenuity, courage, and determination. And in the alien minds, a permanent record was formed. Humans were unpredictable, powerful, and capable of shaping the galaxy. They were not a species to be conquered or controlled. They were a species to be reckoned with, respected, and perhaps one day allied with. The solar system returned to a kind of calm. Life on Earth continued, but something had changed. The stars no longer seemed distant and silent. They held a new promise. Humans had proven themselves in the eyes of the universe, and now the galaxy would watch with curiosity, caution, and respect. At night, children still looked up, pointing at the stars, imagining distant worlds. Scientists continued their work, inspired by the knowledge that humanity had earned its place among intelligent life. Leaders planned for a future that was both uncertain and full of potential. Captain Aiden Kim, standing at the edge of a launch platform, looked at the alien fleet in orbit. "We have shown them who we are," he said quietly. "And this is just the beginning. The universe is bigger than we imagined, and we are ready for it." Dr. Rojas joined him. They came back after 500,000 years expecting fear. They found courage. They expected weakness. They found strength. Humanity is unpredictable, and that is our greatest power. The alien fleet, distant but watching, pulsed with energy. Somewhere deep inside their massive consciousness, they acknowledged a truth they could not deny. Humanity was not just alive. Humanity was capable, creative, resilient, and extraordinary. And in that acknowledgement, the galaxy itself seemed to shift. For the first time in history, humans had met an ancient, advanced civilization and emerged not as subjects, not as prey, but as equals in intellect, strategy, and spirit. Humanity had shown its greatest power, the power to think, adapt, and rise above all expectations. The stars, once distant and silent, now seemed alive with possibility, and Earth, small and blue, shone as a beacon of courage, creativity, and hope. The aliens had returned, expecting to intimidate. Instead, they left with respect, awe, and a lesson they would never forget. Never underestimate humanity.